So, my next post is interesting. Uh, this is a post from Jacob Warren, VP of Marketing at WarTech, but the 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 value of this post is not what Jacob is bringing. He's analyzing a news which is Cisco is training 84,000 of its employees to become LinkedIn influencers. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that a big company like Cisco is putting the effort and understanding the value they have within their hands. 84,000 LinkedIn posts every day or every other day. Can you imagine that? To be fair, if you go through the comments, a lot of people are joking about like, yeah, you need 84,000 people to explain what Cisco's value proposition is. So like, but beyond that, beyond the funny jabs at Cisco, the fact that they're going all in and providing the training. They're not just saying, hey, we need to start posting on LinkedIn. Because I've heard it a lot. Like, hey, you need to start reposting the company's content on your personal profile. That is not going to happen. And I challenge anyone saying that to think about when marketers ask salespeople to use systems that they never used before. The first question is, what's in it for me? And I think this is the same case. When a company comes and asks their employees, hey, boost our message, what's in it for the employee? And when the company comes in and invests the time and the money to give you the right tools to become not just someone who amplifies the company's message, but to become an influencer on your own, that benefits you in propping up your profile, positioning you as someone who's knowledgeable and credible, and that actually boosts your career. And at that scale, nobody's gonna miss you. If 100 or 1,000 of these employees were recruited by other companies, nobody's gonna miss that. But I do understand that if you're talking to your 10 employees and 5 of them get recruited because they become, respected and knowledgeable, I get that. That's scary. But what's stopping you from having the same attitude as our friend John Franco, co-founder of Gorilla 76, who says if they get recruited because of their LinkedIn presence, then they outgrew our company. We failed to provide the environment for them to flourish. Somebody else did. And I love that. Shout out to John Franco. But I love that. You empower your people to become thought leaders in their space. You gain from the impressions that they're generating and the added benefit to the employee that advances their career. That might be a risk through the company, but the adage that gets thrown around of if I train my employees, they'll leave. And then someone comes back and says, well, what if you don't train them and they stay?
Exactly. It's yeah.
But I would like to scroll back up to Jacob's analysis. He's talking about that you're throwing away 100,000 impressions. I think that's very conservative. If you manage to get 84,000 people to post, that's not 100,000 impressions. We're talking millions of impressions.
So you're saying throwing away by not doing it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's where I was gonna go. Like, and this is like we're competing. Like if we're marketers and we're suggesting this, as a course of action, right? Versus the old days of Marcom and PR, right? So you put out a press release, you go to a show, um, you go to the industry event, right? You put an ad in the magazine. We're talking thousands of impressions, maybe. Like, I mean, even huge companies that have like 1 million followers on LinkedIn, like they're so bad at executing their company page that like, you're posting in front of 1 million people each time, and there's single digit comments if you're lucky. Sometimes there's no comments, and like, 50 people liking the post, most of them from the organization. So thousands of impressions is what you used to be able to get, and you had to pay a pretty penny to get it. You still do. Versus all the people that work for you. So 84,000 people at minimum. Let's say they didn't have a LinkedIn profile and they're just creating one for the first time. At minimum 100 impressions for their post. That's almost 1 million impressions. and yes, people you care about are on LinkedIn to see those posts. It's not that the game of our people that we're targeting are on LinkedIn, so there's nobody to impress there. Like, yes, they are. There's 1 billion people on LinkedIn now. Like, and every industry is represented. This is exposure. This is public relations. This is the reach that you want.
And the
right?
benchmarks from LinkedIn have been updated. They used to say that 1% of the user base creates content. Now it's 5%. But that's still 5%. That's nothing.
Right.
There is space for you and your employees to occupy the feed. Especially now with LinkedIn bucking the trend of all social media and optimizing for like pure impressions, they're now urging people to bring expertise to the platform. If you can get 84,000 people to bring expertise that aligns with what your company is trying to achieve, LinkedIn is going to grab that and run with it.
And man, if people could just appreciate LinkedIn for what it is, like, it's the best sales contact phone book like ever created, the best sales database. It is a social platform that is designed for business, and you don't see kids profiles, you don't see couples profiles. It's very hard for religious and political content to gain any kind of steam. It has its moments and its corners, but that's the beauty of the algorithm. Like, it supports learning and networking versus outrage and like stuff that doesn't matter. And
in fact, LinkedIn's editor-in-chief recently got on a podcast and talked about how they view viral content internally. And he said that viral content gets manually reviewed, and they look under the hood of what signals got it to go viral, and they update the algorithm to make sure that content like that doesn't go viral. For them, they don't want the top 1% of creators creating the bulk of the views. They want everybody to feel empowered to share a piece of their knowledge. They want this to become the place where micro communities convene around thought leadership and education. But a huge part of my learning and my career progress was because of LinkedIn and because of marketers sharing their experience for free. Sharing good, actionable experience for free. And I have become a customer of some of these. The content that Mary Q and Gorilla and John and Joe Sullivan like were were a foundational pillar for my learning. And now, anytime I have the budget to engage with Gorilla 76, I jump at the opportunity. Can you have your software attribute their posts to my sale? No. But does it change the fact that if I have the budget, I will engage with Gorilla 76 without looking for alternatives? What's the value of that?
It's huge. I mean, my last two jobs, my relationship with you, uh, so many things I can source back to LinkedIn. It's just an amazing platform.
And not just simply
Yeah.
LinkedIn, but LinkedIn empowering experts to share their expertise for free to teach on the platform instead of focusing on lead gen.
Right. Or focusing on how they generate ad revenue.
Yes.
When in the background, they're generating a ton of ad revenue. But again, it's the HubSpot mindset, the inbound mindset, understanding that the rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
And the more ships it raises, the more ad revenue you get. It's not about outrage. Like there's there's a good way to get eyeballs and a bad way. They're taking, some great approaches, and just that point of view on virality is amazing. It's completely counter to the business model of the other social media platforms,
Yes.
which is why I don't call LinkedIn a social media platform. Right? There's social media and there's LinkedIn. Like that's always how I present it, and that's always how I'm gonna present it. Um,
Again, these last 30 minutes of conversations were based on posts shared by experts on LinkedIn. How many posts do we share with each other on our private DMs? How much posts have we shared in the past of saying, this is what we're talking about internally in an organization, and this is a person that is more eloquent than me and is explaining this, or has more credibility because they've successfully implemented it multiple times. Here's a video of them talking about this. It helps us in multiple ways. It helps us get through our daily jobs, clear challenges, get buy-in from people who maybe we didn't have the expertise to get buy-in from. It's just I can't stop singing praises of LinkedIn. In fact, I can argue that me being here in the U.S. right now is because of LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn's the best. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing out. And if you're on LinkedIn, make sure to find both me and Chris and follow us. Send us a connection request. We'll love to chat.
for sure. And that last piece, you know, it's probably different for marketers just because there's, definitely a space on there where marketers are talking to marketers, and, it's easy to get caught in the echo chamber. But the access, like we're on here and we can say, hey, come connect with us on this platform. Like almost everybody who does a podcast, like book authors, like for me to be in a transitional space where I'm trying to figure out, what the next career move is, and being able to connect with book authors who I admire, and, podcast hosts that I listen to every week, that's huge. And that kind of access, that's similar to being able to use, you know, other platforms, or being able to ring up like your favorite athlete, or you know it's just awesome, the learning environment, the networking abilities, and to have them be sharing that knowledge and then also be available, you know to anyone who shows up, you know asking for the value that they promise, right? And hopefully providing some in return. It's awesome. And the more I think about it, um, I forget what I was listening to recently. It might have been this last podcast, this human experience. But Microsoft recently purchased LinkedIn, and the Microsoft leadership transition over the past few years. I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it's instilled a new set of values in that company, making it very human centric and human oriented. And I can see it throughout, you know, a number of the products, some new, some old, just their approach. The more I feel that, and the juxtaposition against, you know, the Facebooks and Googles and X's of the world, right? It feels good that one of these behemoths is kind of sticking to their values on that, because they do have a lot of control over the online experience. So
On that note, if you're catching this on YouTube, we invite you to join us next time on stream, and we'll definitely start promoting this show even more. We'll be repurposing some of these clips on LinkedIn, and we'll have these segments that we're talking about as individual clips on YouTube. But until then, any closing thoughts, Chris?
feels good to get this started, man. And we're gonna be here for the long haul. There's lots to talk about. It's gonna be a good time, and we look forward to engaging with people. And please share your thoughts open and often as you can. We want to build a community here around this, and talk about stuff that matters to people. So if we're not talking about stuff that matters, please let us know, and share your ideas on what does matter.
Let us know in the comments, either on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Make sure to follow us, both me at Salim-Malouf, Chris at Chris-Carolyn on LinkedIn. We're always available for a chat. And if we can't make the time, then we'll see you next time.